Content warnings for this video will include some political takes you might not like, brief mentions of world events, Trump in general, and alleged doxing. Everything said within this video is alleged, and nothing has been proven in a court of law. All things said within this video should be taken as either my opinion or the opinion of the sources I am using for this video. Thank you. I am tired of continuing to hear the phrase, "We live in unprecedented times." It's generally been pretty exhausting to live through historical event after historical event, and everyone I talk to has been pretty much under the same mindset. With how absolutely ridiculous American politics has become, in the worst way possible, it's more important now, more than ever really, to know what companies are doing with our money after we spend it on them. Are they funding a genocide? Opposing the rights of a minority group, or being used to make t-shirts promoting a presidential candidate? Wait, what?
I need $100,000 in paid Facebook ads.
Okay, we can put some paid ads in the pipeline. When do you want to put them out?
Right now. Check your inbox.
Hey there, I'm here to interrupt your regularly scheduled entertainment. This should be a relatively short one, I hope, but probably not, because, 8 pages, but this situation is a little absurd to me, so I just kind of wanted to talk about it. As many of you might be aware, if you've perused my content for more than just a few seconds, I'm an artist by trade. You might have even watched these videos here and there instead of just listening to them, and you can see the glorious artwork that I draw occasionally. I'm not like a musician or anything, right? I'm a digital illustrator, and I like to do a lot of fan art of cartoons, anime, comics, games, things I enjoy. If you aren't in the same sphere that I am in, like, a lot of artists, particularly those in like the anime community, we can table at conventions and sell our art on a variety of things like merchandise. And yes, that does include fan art depending on the convention. We aren't really here to discuss the legalities of that. And I particularly don't really care about your stance on whether or not you think that we should be allowed to sell Pikachu stickers at a convention. That's not what this video is about. But just be aware that I make merchandise, Etsy plug in the description, and since I make merchandise to sell at conventions, I'm aware that there are a variety of manufacturers for different kinds of products, right? Including the before-mentioned stickers. I try to stay in the loop as much as possible when it comes to which manufacturers are popular currently, and who has good prices compared to what their minimum order quantities are, and who has the best quality, because you want to have quality product for your customers. And knowing all that information is a good step in the right direction to find the happy medium between all of those factors to choose the best manufacturer for your project. But with the world that we live in currently, a lot of major companies are being a little too vocal about political affiliations that they have one way or another, which honestly is just bad for business, really. The smarter businesses would shut their mouths and make their customers jump through a million different websites to find out if they're donating money to a problematic cause, like a genocide or a convicted felon's election campaign. So anyway, a lot of artists use this company called StickerMule to get things made for them, and you can see a lot of advertisements for them pretty much all over at this point. Despite the word sticker being in their name, that wasn't the only thing that they offered to their customers. They also did acrylic pins, buttons, and other products, a lot of which I hear very negative reviews about even prior to this situation, but I digress. Their clientele included a wide berth of artists from a variety of demographics, including a lot of people of color and queer individuals, which is why when StickerMule's co-founder Anthony sent out a particular email, a large portion of their customer base was pretty appalled and shocked by what they read. The email in question was in relation to the unfortunate shooting that happened at the Trump rally in Pennsylvania. Anthony's email, which I think was a little too personal to use for the company email, but whatever, he put that he was a Trump supporter, and so were a lot of people within that company. He said that he was scared to admit his political affiliations, like he was in the closet or something. He called for the end of political violence, and there would be a sale on t-shirts for the week. Alluding to purchasing a t-shirt meant that you were in support of Trump. He pleaded again to stop hating people just because someone likes Trump and to, quote, vocalize your support. This, as you can imagine, did not go over well for the left-leaning crowd using StickerMule's services. Here is the thing, when it comes to, differences in political opinions, and this is where, it might get a little saucy for some people in my audience, but, I don't care. People who are for or against Trump, this isn't really a difference in opinion, like whether or not you like pineapple on pizza. Trump and the Republican Party, particularly the conservative aspect of that party, currently want to damage the foundations of American society. We boast about being the freest country, and our country is patriotic to a ridiculous fault, with how much we have freedoms and privileges that, other countries just don't have, which, for the record, most of the time, like, these brags, like, they're not even true anyway. Like I said, particularly conservative Republicans, a vast majority of the Republican Party really is conservative right now. They want to make the rich richer and continue to exploit the working class in order to help the rich keep making money. They want to turn back the country to a time in which white men were the only ones with a voice, minorities worked for nothing, and queer people didn't exist in the public eye unless they wanted to be murdered. Politics affect each and every one of us, and a difference in political views is more of a matter of whether or not you think someone deserves the right to vote, live in this country, or just exist in general. American politics will never be free from hate at this point, especially when the policies one side is proposing is just fueled on hate, and that's like the sad reality that our country is currently in. So with this email in support of Trump, a lot of people called for the boycott against StickerMule and began to request that their accounts with the company be terminated and for them to be subsequently removed from StickerMule's email subscription list. I honestly kind of feel bad for the artists who are using this company for their products because this seems to be kind of a slap in the face for many people. I was also kind of surprised when the backlash first hit though, if I'm being honest, because I already knew that StickerMule was a very pro-Trump company. During Trump's first re-election campaign in 2020, StickerMule was included in a master list of companies who were donating to Trump. It was spread around and encouraged to boycott the companies on that list when possible. Since there is a plethora of different sticker manufacturers, all within a similar or even better quality than StickerMule, I simply picked another one of the dozens of alternatives at the time. Honestly, I was more shocked that people apparently forgot about all this more so than I was about the emails that really came out. I think I was surprised mostly because I constantly forget that 1, new people join the merch making space all the time, and 2, gatekeeping manufacturers is actually super commonplace among merch makers to the point where it's actually a detriment to our community. When you ask someone where they get something made, it's not too uncommon for them to either ignore you, brush you off, or just outright become hostile towards the question because there's this rather weird notion that by asking for a manufacturer, it means that you're trying to copy someone else's products, which I hate to say it, but if someone wanted to rip off your product, they would just do it with or without your manufacturer's help, right? And honestly, manufacturers out there are the ones really ripping off your products, not, other artists wanting to know where you got something made. If we were just a little more open about sources within our community, we could also in turn warn unsuspecting people joining us which manufacturers are problematic in one way or another. We could warn of manufacturers that steal designs to make knockoffs, which companies have, worse quality, and which ones are upcharging you for whatever reason they like. And of course, which companies are funding a political party you don't like. I also just want to squeeze in here to say that the contents of the email isn't the only thing that people were upset about, because some people who, one way or the other politics-wise, were also pretty upset with this email. They viewed this email as a way for the company to kind of push an agenda onto them, a breach in trust for people who did not want to be forced into picking a side. I can see their point in this to that regard, but at the end of the day, despite the messaging on the email, it's just a dumb stunt to advertise a t-shirt sale, honestly. I don't know if they were anticipating the overall backlash from this particular marketing ploy, but, we're here. It's almost comically absurd in a way, and it would be funny if it didn't lead to the company, honest to God, doxing people. So following the initial pro-Trump email, people were canceling their accounts and stuff, and the co-founder started replying to emails and tweets, right? The more polite follow-up emails would say things like, by unsubscribing, you're missing out, and it's wrong to vilify people who support Trump, ending the response with, hope you reconsider, we have really cool stuff coming. But, of course, with the way that some people are online, some of the cancellation emails that StickerMule was receiving were not very kind. There's this weird thing about being online where the anonymity that comes with a computer screen causes people to be kind of vile pieces of shit, but despite that, people don't really deserve to be doxxed for being kind of rude to a company. In retaliation to the rude emails, StickerMule decided to start taking screenshots as evidence of the things they were being sent and posted them onto their public Twitter account. This included full legal names and email addresses for their former customers. I'm going to be completely transparent here too. I have StickerMule blocked, and I don't want to unblock them to go through their entire history history of tweets. The ones that do show up when you look at their profile while not logged into Twitter are in regards to some nasty responses they were getting, but they're all like cropped images. And I know that if you have premium or blue checkmark or whatever the fuck they call it on Twitter, it lets you edit tweets after you send them. And I don't know if that includes photos, but I can only imagine that it probably does, right? Someone confirm. If you want to go investigate for me and see if like the uncropped doxed screenshots are still up and comment it here, feel free. I'm not going to make a burner account or anything like that. It's a lot of work and I'm lazy. I actually blocked StickerMule a little while ago because, if you didn't know, there tends to be a lot, and I mean like a shit ton of a lot, of far-right ads on Twitter because Twitter has a very disturbingly large far-right population. And we all can thank Elon for that. Anyway, doxing people obviously was not getting them the results that they wanted, and so they sent out another email, because that seems like the brightest idea at this point, right? Beyond just the contents of this second mass email, which I'll touch on in a second, the primary issue with the fact that they even sent out the second email is that it went out to not only the people who just didn't cancel their accounts, but yes, that's right, it also sent out to people who did cancel their accounts as well. This, understandably, made a lot of people very upset because this was turning into a variety of privacy issues for former customers, right? A company is supposed to stop sending you emails after like 10 days of unsubscribing to them, even though legally, like, you can't really do anything about it, you know, technically. So when you, like, continue to get emails from them after that 10-day deadline, it starts becoming an issue of wanting to know why they're keeping your information, especially for people who requested their accounts be canceled, accounts that included email addresses and phone numbers and even addresses. And what are they doing with this information they obviously are not deleting as per request? The second mass email was about this influx of hateful comments that StickerMule's support team was receiving and how, because they were such a great company, they gave everybody on the support team a $2,500 bonus for dealing with everything. They boasted that the people who kept sending hateful emails should feel good about helping the support team earn their sizable bonuses. They also commented that they wanted people to learn that people with big hearts supported Trump. This email, to me, is just so fucking funny. Because Anthony here was like, ah shit, these people want to quit. I wonder how much I have to pay them for them to stay. Look, buddy, you don't have to brag about giving your employees compensation for enduring a hard task in order to tell people you have a big heart. You could have done it in other ways, like, I don't know, not put them in that position to receive death threats to begin with, maybe? There's this, like, thing in business, right? And a lot of YouTubers do this too. It's called risk management, and it's something that a credible PR representative will help you with. And basically, it's just a plan of action to anticipate any potential backlash that you could receive from any particular decision prior to you making that said decision. It's obvious at this point that StickerMule doesn't have someone like that on their team, or else they would have advised not to send out that original email, much less someone there now to tell them how stupid it is to try to dox former customers and send out more emails to whine that they had to give their employees bonuses so they wouldn't quit after the backlash. But maybe this is all done on purpose. After all, the ending tagline to this original email prompted people to make responses on Twitter, a website now infamous for how outrageously right-leaning it's become since Musk took over. Did they think that by causing a ruckus and getting more attention on Twitter, they could garner a more right-leaning customer base? I, for one, really want to see how this email fumble has caused their sales to suffer, because I imagine it did to a degree. There's no way that it didn't at this point, right? Despite how vocal right-leaning individuals are, the reality is that there actually isn't as many conservatives as there are more progressive people, hence why doing bigoted things can get you pretty detrimental impacts on your reputation, right? Look how often someone is fired for being racist or homophobic publicly. It's because allowing someone who works for you to publicly spread hate, it impacts the company they represent and can cost that business money when they are added to a boycott list, or sometimes it leads to trouble when people come to that place of business to confront the bigoted person, or when that person's boss gets constant emails and phone calls over that person's behavior. They generally don't want to deal with that when the employee is easily replaceable, because spoiler, you're replaceable. That's capitalism, baby. Now with the next things I'm going to discuss here, it's very big alleged territory, and the people who've made these claims have not supplied proof as far as I'm aware, but I think it should also be mentioned, right? Firstly, some people who knew about the issues related to StickerMule prior to these emails said that they learned about these far-right political views because they actually ordered some products in relation to indigenous women going missing, and instead of receiving what they ordered, they instead gotten something that had called them like a stupid liberal instead or something. I actually think the original claims that they were like using slurs and then calling them liberal, but I think you can get the gist of it from context clues, right? Which is a wild thing to do, by the way, and actually not the first and only instance I've heard of a company apparently having a quote rogue employee, because that's usually the excuse for this happening and not something to do with like the inner workings of their management behind the scenes or anything, right? Regardless, it's unacceptable behavior to do that instead of just refunding the customer or requesting them to take their business elsewhere, right? That can get a company into a lot of shit too, but it's a better alternative than wasting their time and insulting someone, right? The second thing, again, allegedly, in relation to StickerMule after, the email fiasco, is that one person reported that after canceling their account with StickerMule, they had started getting threatening phone calls from like pro-Trump people, and that they felt that it was very suspiciously timed in regard to the StickerMule situation. Unfortunately, even if this was true, it would be kind of hard for them to prove that StickerMule was the one that doxed this person's phone number, since apparent doxing from StickerMule on their Twitter account seems to have been like contained to email addresses and names as opposed to like numbers and addresses, according to like the screenshots that I've been seeing popping up on Reddit and TikTok and stuff. But then again, sometimes a full legal name is really all you need in order to find someone's personal phone number nowadays. I mean, where I live, if you look up someone's home address on a particular website, it lets you see like what they owe on their household bills, like their water bill and electricity bill and stuff like that. It's a little crazy how little privacy we actually have with our personal information nowadays, especially if you know what terms to search for on Google. Finally, there is another thing going around for StickerMule that alleges that they were just in generally also a shitty place to work, since the management would belittle and berate people with different views than them. But it turns into a case of like the money being a little too tempting to leave, hence like the sudden bonuses that, were issued out for dealing with the abusive emails. An article by LA Weekly also details out other concerns for the business practices for that company, including things like misleading marketing practices, upcharging customers to fix their files for them prior to sending things to print, overcharging for poor quality work, and a sketchy clause in their terms of service that grants them the ability to redistribute your work without your consent. This article also touches on labor law violations and a lawsuit in which it is alleged that StickerMule would fail to pay employees for working overtime. All of this to say is that StickerMule has kind of been a dumpster fire for years prior to this entire scandal with these emails. It's just kind of funny to me that they seem to have manufactured this current situation on purpose in order to capitalize on Trump's incident, in a similar way in which Trump himself has been trying to profit from it as well. I mean, have you seen those tacky-ass shoes he's trying to sell? I think that StickerMule did this on purpose, honestly, in order to try to get money from die-hard Trump supporters, because honestly, they spend their money on the stupidest fucking shit. Especially since it's become apparent with all this, like, anti-Trump people getting upset over the emails that in a few months or even a year or two, people will forget the situation happened, similarly to everyone forgetting about them donating money to Trump's campaign in 2020. New people will come in, uninformed with no one to tell them due to the gatekeeping our community perpetuates, and they will spend their money on this shit company, blissfully ignorant of it all. But I won't forget. And with this video, I hope you all don't forget either. Some alternatives to StickerMule include Sticker App, which is the company that I use to get my stickers from. I think they're great. They have great quality and they offer a very wide variety of finishes, and most of their different types of stickers are actually all waterproof and weather resistant for the most part. I mean, my stickers have survived the dishwasher, which is a very amazing feat in my opinion. Another shameless plug, but I have a lot of stickers on my Etsy if anybody likes my art and wants some. Other alternatives include like Vograce, for example, which it's an overseas company, so it takes a while to get your stuff, but they have more than just stickers, so if you were going to order from them, I'd order like a variety of things and not just like one or two things, right? There's Sticker Ninja, I believe Sticker Bunny is one, custom stickers. Honestly, there's just a lot of different places to get stickers made that are pretty affordable and high quality. Just remember, even if you won't help someone by recommending a manufacturer to them to use for their own products for whatever personal belief reason that you have, I guess, you can still warn people against certain companies who you know won't align with their beliefs. As always, be polite in the comments section, please. We're all nice here, right, guys? Right, guy? Were you someone using Sticker Mule without knowing that they were super pro-Trump, or have you like bought stickers from someone who uses Sticker Mule to get their like products made? I mean, I'm personally actually told that their quality is kind of garbage, so let me know in the comments, right? This video, like all of my content, is brought to you by Patreon, so thank you so much to Ippo, Alec, Ashley, Mel, and Clint for subscribing. Also, thank you to the channel member, Megan May. If you want to support me on Patreon or become a channel member and get exclusive content, check out the links in the description, please. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for more. Do everything that the algorithm likes. And again, thank you for watching. This is Finn signing off. Until next time.
I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hold. 'Cause I can't move on till I let go.